Attention listeners, mark your calendars for Colorado Gives Day on December 10th. Support Aftersight and give to the causes you care about. Go to coloradogivesday.org/organizations/aftersight between now and December 10th to make your donation.
Welcome to Blind Level Tech. This isn't just accessible tech talk. This is technology on a whole new level. We're showing you just how possible it is to live the life you want.
Welcome to Blind Level Tech. I am your host, Evan Starnes, and I am joined by my co-host, Kelvin Crosby.
Hey, so good to see you, even though I can't see you. It's another beautiful day in the neighborhood, Evan. How you doing, man?
Ooh, man, dude, it's. I'm feeling a little rusty, man. I feel like it's been a couple weeks since we've sat in front of these mics, man.
Well, I guess we need to get some gasoline, get that rust off of you, get it off of you, man.
Where's a motorcycle sound? I don't know. Goodness gracious. Yeah, no, forgive us if we flub up anything today. It's beautiful when you have episodes like backlogged and recorded, but it's also a double-edged sword because sometimes you'll come back like a couple weeks later like, gosh, I've totally lost my thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where if you don't stay nice and tuned up, you know, you can get a little out of tune and make that weird noise like
wing, wing, like a dissonant kind of noise, and yeah. Yeah, it's like retuning a guitar.
Exactly. Well, I think what's interesting is one of the things that a lot of us visually impaired people, we find ourselves having to be tuned up in a lot of different ways. Like our blind cane, our navigation, our daily lives, our computers. But if we don't use it, we're going to lose it, right?
Absolutely.
And so I just think today's topic is going to be really interesting because I think for a lot of us, today's topic, I wouldn't say all visually impaired people do this often, but for those that do often, we have definitely a unique strategies how we navigate the world. But for those that don't, this is where we got kind of have to fine tune some of the details.
Yes, it's definitely a pretty big topic and probably going to span out over at least 2 episodes. But before we get into that, it's time for our tech piece of the week. My tech piece of the week, I actually don't know if I've done this one before. And unfortunately, it's... Well, actually, no. This one is related to travel, and it actually is a useful app. And it's an app called Oko.
Oko.
Yeah, Oko.
Like the Scooby snack?
I guess so. I haven't actually heard that term in Scooby-Doo before.
I don't know.
Oko. But basically what it is, it's spelled OKO. And if you haven't heard of it, it's an app that uses your phone's camera to recognize pedestrian crossing signals and tell you when it's appropriate to cross using voice, audible, and haptic feedback. Completely free, and they've added some more like mapping functionality to it as well for navigation outside of crossing streets. So totally go check that out. It's in the App Store. I do not think there is an Android version out, unfortunately, right now, as of yet. If there is one, and I find out, I'll let you guys know in a couple weeks. But
well, the other thing, I have the GPS in it.
It does have GPS, yeah. So it's like that weird mapping. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't know.
It's not advanced as some of the other things, but hey, it's there.
It's there. It exists, and it is nice to have kind of a Swiss Army knife app. That's what I like to call them. But yeah, man, what's your tech piece of the week?
Well, I've been on a hunt for headphones.
Still?
Well, I have been. I got the Rode headphones, and they only make one pair of headphones. I don't forget the name of it, but the Rode headphones, I'm like, okay, this could work. I'm down. And then after a couple of hours, my ears hurt, and I'm just like, nah, this isn't really working well for my hearing aid. Then I'm like, all right, See, my go-to headphones has always been Bose, but then I started realizing because of my hearing loss, Bose is causing me to do false editing. And I'm like, then how in the world am I supposed to edit my podcast with true sound? And then I learned, okay, you gotta learn about the flat line. I'm like okay,
studio monitors and stuff.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay. So I put some of those on, and I'm like, I don't hear anything different. But come to find out, because even though I don't hear anything different, I'm realizing that somehow it works in my ears to edit my audio at a flat level so that way people can adjust it based off their headphones. Which then led me to the ATR's studio headphones that they have. And I'm like, okay, so since I'm looking for a travel headphone to add a Bluetooth, to have a flat range, if I need an immediate audio editing, obviously I don't recommend audio editing with
especially
Bluetooth,
over Bluetooth.
But, yeah, but if that's all you got, at least I got something.
Exactly.
And then I had a decent microphone for phone calls, which was another thing I was looking for. And then I'm like, okay, but these have wire that you can plug in to your computer. So this could be my backpack headphones. And this way, when I go traveling, I got an all-in-one headphone for studio editing, making phone calls, doing different things, and they fit my ears. And so I got the Audio Technica something. It's the $200 Bluetooth studio headphones that they sell. And I haven't gotten them yet, but I suspect they're going to be pretty identical to my studio headphones that I already use, which is Audio Technica. And I should be very happy with them and how they fit my ears.
Well, so, yeah, tell us what you think in a couple weeks once you get them.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, I'm excited. All right, we've been on this topic a little long.
Yeah, absolutely. But today what we're actually going to talk about really is traveling, and our main focus actually in this episode is air travel and kind of just sharing our experiences. And I've only, honestly, independently by myself, I've only flown by plane once. And I mean, I have flown before, but with sighted assistance from family and or colleagues. So I'm not really going to count that. But at least when I flew, a couple of months ago now to San Diego, California, oh my gosh!
The first time I was came and saw me.
I know.
You realize you flew to San Diego.
I was even planning it, and then it never happened.
And never saw the guy. You know, I see how our relationship is. I see how it is.
Yeah, once we're off these mics, nah. But my goodness, man, when I was even before booking those flights, I was super, super nervous because there's a lot to think about as a totally blind person traveling in the airport, as far as how the heck do you get accommodations and how do you avoid getting thrown in a wheelchair if you don't want to get thrown in a wheelchair? Yeah. Now, keep in mind, we actually did do a Navigating Life with Vision Loss episode on air travel a while back, so actually go check that out. But really, we're here to focus on just the technology behind it all. And really, when it comes to, actually getting flights, I mean, first of all, you got to know what airline you want to go with. And my go-to has always been Southwest. And that's really mainly because from my experiences, and I'm sure others might have experiences, and if you do, definitely be sure to send us feedback at aftersight.org with your experiences. But Southwest has honestly been pretty darn accessible and easy enough to use. And, I got their app, the Southwest app, and, it gave me notifications on when I needed to check in for my ride just to, confirm that I was indeed flying to and from San Diego. And, but overall, I mean, it was pretty much just as simple as finding the seats you wanted, then putting your payment information in, and after, of course, creating an account. Of course, I'm not even that's a whole process in and of itself. But it was actually a lot more seamless than I had expected. But Kelvin, man, you travel. I mean, you were traveling a lot, especially a few months ago. I feel like, and I definitely think you got a lot of travel experiences. But like, yeah, what was your first one like?
Well, I think one of the things that we have to think about when we travel as visually impaired people is, what are you comfortable with?
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, this is not necessarily what my opinions are and what Evan's opinions are individualized. And at the end of the day, what are you comfortable in your navigation, your abilities, your skills, your level? Because navigating on the web to do your booking and all that stuff, and then the stress and the anxieties that you might get just going through the airport and just using technology to do that, and then just finding your seat, getting to your next transfer plane, or anything like that. All that stuff carries a load of stress over you. And the question is where are you comfortable and how much can you manage?
That's super true.
Because at the end of the day, you have to decide what that is. And I think one of the biggest things that you got to think about when you book a flight, what airline you're going to fly with. And let's just go straight through the list here. We got American Airlines, their website and their app is okay. I highly recommend, if you're flying American Airlines, put your ticket in your wallet on your phone.
Your Apple Wallet, especially if you have
your Apple Wallet, because that way you're not worrying about the app going down. You're not worried about anything to go on, issue with the internet. It's in your wallet. I have seen time and time again people not put their boarding passes in their wallet, and next thing you know, you're standing there, internet down, something goes wrong, the airlines go wacky, they get hacked by somebody. Like, there's so many things that can go wrong.
But somebody's expecting a ticket from you, and you're holding up the line because of it too. And that's like, it just adds even more to the equation. But
exactly,
you put it in your Apple Wallet, it's stored offline.
Exactly. But the other component to that, though, if you're one of those people that really want a paper ticket, there's nothing wrong with that, but you need to plan and prepare for that. And that adds another level of wondering how you're going to do that. So for American Airlines, I always recommend put it in your wallet, have the app. Get familiar with their app. Their app is a little bit of a garbage.
Oh.
It's okay. It's okay. You can navigate it. You can do the thing.
Around. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you are going to have yourself in a situation in a bind where you need to rebook your ticket or get assistance or anything like that, most of these airports in the United States that have IRA, I highly recommend you go ahead and send IRA all the details before you fly so that they have all your flight information, all your passwords, everything that you need to get into that airline. Mm-hmm. So that way, if you get into a bind and nothing on the apps are working, you can't navigate the app, you just call IRA. They're there to rescue. They're the human being on that end. They can even call the airline for you and help you through that and navigate all of that. It's one of those things I really, really want to emphasize is being prepared before you get to the airport.
Yup. Because that way you're not in one of those situations where you need to pull something out, you don't have it, and then you have to backtrack, and it's just a whole awkward ordeal.
Exactly. And so if that means that you need to have paper and printed out boarding passes and you just have them in your backpack, you have on your phone, it really depends on what you need to be comfortable, because it is stressful. Flying is not one of those easy things. So let's continue the other apps. You got Frontier Airlines. Garbage on the accessibility side of things. But their service for people with visual impairments, excellent. So if you need assistance for getting on and off the plane, getting a good seat on the plane, all of that, they're great at that. They tend to really tailor to visually impaired on Frontier Airlines. And they're a low-cost flight.
True.
And just if you're going to prepare to pay fees, if you're not packing or having a bag that is a not carry on, under the seat bag.
Mm-hmm.
But hint, hint, if you're visually impaired, you get to board first on Frontier Airlines, and they don't check your bag if you board first. So you can go a little bit bigger than just a handbag, that goes underneath the seat, and which is what I travel with. It's just about a couple of liters bigger than a handbag size that they allow for.
Like a backpack.
Yep. And so it works. But that's something that you have to think through. Southwest Airlines, app fairly accessible, website, it's okay.
It's usable. It's not bad. It's a little annoying terrible sometimes, but it is screen reader compatible.
Yeah. And so you can navigate that. The other airline I fly a lot is JetBlue. They have some issues with regards to their app and their website for accessibility. They're okay though.
Yeah.
So this is where, as visually impaired individuals, we have to be prepared technology-wise for it to fail us, but also have our technology ready to the best of our ability to navigate that technology, that app, or whatever. And so a lot of times what I will do, so this is what I do, is I download the app for that airline. I will have the IRA agent call the IRA and do a screen share with IRA, and they get to see everything on the app, and then they take all the details and put it into my notes. And then also by them having it in their notes, they're able to
just help you out. They know where your gate is,
and so
when the boarding time is, and all that.
Exactly. And the other thing is they can download the maps for those airports ahead of time.
Didn't even think of that.
And so,
especially for like DIA.
Exactly. And so those are things that, if we use the tools that we have at our fingertips, technology-wise and not technology-wise, it's going to make your travel a lot more efficient. And I think that's something that you really got to work through as a visually impaired person, understanding where is your comfort level.
Absolutely.
Then you work from there. So,
and I should say too, Southwest's, we're talking about accommodations for people with blind, low vision. Mm-hmm. Southwest does also do a pretty good job accommodating us. They don't try to alienate or make you feel whatever, silly or or make it awkward. Yeah, they do offer priority boarding. Unfortunately, as of a couple of months ago, they don't have the open seating that they've had for years and years that everybody knows and loves. But I don't think you'll have to worry about that if you're blind or low vision.
So they took away open seating on Southwest?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't? Yeah, they did.
I didn't hear this. There must have been too many fist fights on that plane.
It sounds like it. People are like, seat fighting. And you were mentioning IRA, and it needs to be said and it needs to be emphasized. In most airports, especially DIA, IRA is free. And so if you don't have, an IRA Explorer plan, whatever, you can still totally use all of the IRA's services and features, including, having all your boarding information down, and they could just literally navigate you using your phone's camera, Now, one of the drawbacks to it, and actually kind of a segue here, is that it's using your cameras a lot, so it is draining your battery quite a bit. So this is kind of a matter of, well, you have other options as well. And typically, at least what I've done walking into the airport, there's usually an attendant or like a security guard or somebody there, and you can ask for sighted assistance. Now, here's the thing. We're mentioning getting thrown into a wheelchair here. At least what works for me is you have to be very pointed and very explicit. Like, hey, I would like some sight assistance to my gate without a wheelchair. Like, if you say those words, at least they seem to respect it for me, and they should respect it for you too.
Well, there's 5 ways to navigate the airport as a visually impaired person.
Mm-hmm.
So number 1, there's the wheelchair assistant people, and you ask them to do a sighted guide. That's what they should be doing. But I know the Denver airport tends to try to throw you in the wheelchair and take you off. Then another one is TSA Cares. Okay. So if you go to TSA Cares, I'm not sure what the website, to Google TSA Cares, and then you call them ahead of time and then schedule, and then a TSA agent will meet you at the curb, and they'll take you through and get your tickets and all that. And these TSA agents that are going to come and find you are already well trained in disability etiquette and sighted guide. They're going to take you through a line on TSA that they're going to be the ones screening you for more than likely through the TSA checkpoint. And so that's TSA Cares.
Yep,
So
and the website is tsa.gov/TSA Cares.
Okay. So there you go. So you do call them up. You tell them what airline it is. You got to have all your details for your air flight, all that information. And then they'll kind of process you through that process. They'll help you go get your ticket. They'll help you go get to the gate. And they'll kind of help you get through that whole process. Another way to do this is to bring your own sighted guide. So you go to your airline and go to the gate and say, hey, I'd like to have a sighted guide. Can I get a gate pass? Their sighted guide needs to bring their ID. They bring their ID, and they can guide you through TSA to your gate. So that's option number 3. Option number 4 is using IRA through the whole process. So you can take IRA through the whole airport, and they can guide you through the whole airport and get you through TSA and move forward. And option number 5 is what I do. I just show up and be loud and proud and just walk.
That's what I did. And it worked.
Yeah. Well, because people are gonna be that are walking around like this blind guy's walking mindlessly, like he had too much to drink or something, and they come and get you, and then they just kind of point you in the right direction. I mean, you got to be a little bit prepared. Give yourself enough leeway to get to your gate, because you're banking on playing bumper cars on the whole way.
That's also true.
I mean, it's kind of like playing Marco Polo, but nobody playing Polo back. Like you're just saying Marco, and then you're waiting for somebody to, oh yes, I know this way or whatever. And personally, I get to meet people that way. I enjoy it. It's not terrible, but not everybody has that comfort level of doing that.
And it might be like 3 a.m, and some people are just like, I just want to get on my flight, get to where I need to be, and sleep.
Yep. So those are the 5 ways to navigate the airport if you're visually impaired. And I don't think people really have processed all of that. But for me, it's IRA and just do it on my own.
And I think really the way most people think about it is just like, you know, you just get to the airport and get to your gate and get on the plane. Like, but I think just breaking it down as far as you've got options if you're blind or low vision. Now, another important point that we forgot to make earlier, when you're actually getting your tickets, and this is just going from the way I've done it through Southwest, and other airline experiences may vary here, but when you request accommodations for blind, for being blind or low vision, they, at least for me, they actually did give me a nice guide to my seat, and then even a guide from my seat off the plane into at least the general vicinity where baggage claim was in San Diego. But another thing to consider too is what do you do, once you got your bags and, once you're off the plane, because you got to figure out how to get to your hotel, your friend's place, wherever you're staying. And, that can be a whole bear even in and of itself,
Well, that's where you take your steamy cane. You go outside You feel fresh air and you wave it really loud and proud.
or my lightsaber cane. That's actually a new thing as of a couple of days ago as we're recording.
Yeah, we'll do a review on that.
We'll do a whole BLT on that one.
Yeah, but I think the other thing is, so when you get off the plane, you need to have a plan. So if you're doing a transfer, if you're going through Dallas, all right, let's talk about Dallas real fast. If you're going through the Dallas airport, getting sighted assistance in Dallas airport is difficult. Extremely difficult. So if you're banking on that getting you to where you need to go, have a backup plan. Because it seems like that airport and several others, they just are not that great in providing you disability services, guiding or wheelchair access. They're just not very good at it. And so Dallas has always been like that. It's been like that for over 15 years. And so so that's where you need to prepare. What happens if you don't get any assistance and you only got an hour and a half to get to your next flight? And what are you going to do to prepare for that? And this is where IRA comes into play. This is where your preparation ahead of time comes into play. This is where you're going to have to learn how to advocate for yourself for somebody that can take you for that. So you can always go to the gate agent and get that assistance. Or you can always work out a deal with somebody to get you to point A to point B. So this is where you got to be able to problem solve right on the spot and not get angry. Because if you get angry, you're going to lose your ability to really process the next step.
And people aren't going to want to work with you or help you out if you need it either.
Exactly. And if you're using a guide dog, I mean, that is a whole other can of worms. If you're traveling with a guide dog, you're doing a transfer, you got to prepare to go out of security and come back in. A lot of places, that's what they require. Other places, they have a bathroom, but normally it's like 1,000 dogs in one spot. Your dog is already sniffing all these smells. They're going to take forever to go to the restroom. So that's where you got to think through those things as well. So these are all things you kind of have to think through when you're traveling, and having your technology, having a battery pack with you. I carry a multi-port battery pack that has cables already on it. Nice. So that way I have access to my phone at all times. If something goes down, I have enough battery for 4 days. I've been in an airport for 2. So I still had enough battery to get myself home. My watch didn't. But my phone, I could still get my hearing aid charged, and I could still get my phone charged, and I could still get home. So that's where is having your tech prepared, having your digital copy prepared, all of that ready is so huge to make sure your flights are moving smoothly and you're successful.
Absolutely. Because honestly, like, getting out of the airport can be kind of a challenge, even more so than getting in the airport. At least what I had to do when I went to San Diego and my friend was meeting me there, their mom just met me. Well, basically, I'd asked for sighted assistance and then kind of gave them a description of who to look out for, and that worked perfectly. But since I was going to my apartment at home, just to echo what Kelvin said about just being prepared and having a plan, you need to, you do want to try and be aware of where rideshare or where if you want to take a shuttle bus or whatever from the airport, where in the world do those things pick up, so that you're not like doing what I did once and requesting an Uber and making this dude wait for over 25 minutes because he can't bloody find you. That you don't want, I wouldn't recommend.
Yep. Well, a lot of times when I travel, somebody that knows me and picks me up, or I take a shuttle. Because a shuttle is going to have a landing spot. And that shuttle is going to also have a number location at that airport. So, because with Uber or Lyft, I mean, it's great. And they're super handy dandy.
Yep.
But they're extremely difficult to find as visually impaired individuals. But it's a lot easier to get assistance for somebody to say, I need to go to island number 5, and I'm looking for the Marriott Hotel shuttle,
right?
Then that is extremely detailed, and there's only one island number 5 on the west side, or on whatever. There's only one of those, and so it makes it extremely easy. Like, for example, when I come to San Diego, when I arrive in San Diego, I go take the Old Town shuttle. It takes me to Old Town. I take the bus home, and then I'm like home in like 20 minutes. But just knowing, if you really are like banking on Lyft and Uber, yes, you need to know where the pickup places are, and that's a lot harder to figure out.
Plus, there's a lot of cars.
Yeah, and so that's why I always tend to find a shuttle. One, they're going to be about the same price or even cheaper. And I take that shuttle, and then I work the shuttle location, and I eventually arrive there. And so that's something that I do as a strategy and prepare when I arrive. Like, for example, when I fly to Denver, and I normally have to go to Greeley, majority of the time I come out there, there's a Greeley shuttle that I take. And that drives me a whole hour out there, and it drives me back. And it's on island number 5. So I just go to island number 5 on the west side. On departures, I'm set to go.
So what's the cost associated with taking the shuttle typically?
So for me to go from San Diego or Denver to Greeley was $30.
Oh, wow.
Hour drive, right? So it's not terrible.
It's a lot cheaper than a rideshare, I'll tell you that.
Yep. It's $95.
Even with the discount in Colorado.
Yep. So that's where you got to kind of have to think through what are you going to do? Where are you going to be able to get the best success and be able to navigate the point A to point B?
Yep. Well, one thing that we will hopefully be successful in finding out actually now is
the sandwich of the week.
I was actually in a staff meeting this morning, and Kim, our executive director, is out on vacation for this week. And we're doing something kind of fun and basically just asking just really fun and random questions. But one that came up was, is a hot dog a sandwich? And yeah.
Oh, man.
And I was immediately like, nope, a hot dog is a hot dog. But upon further discussion, technically a sandwich is it can be a jointed roll of bread or two separate like pieces of bread with a filling in between. And that technically is a sandwich. So I'm going to be a big, fat, mean jerk and say that my sandwich of the week this week is a bratwurst. Yeah, dude. That's the sandwich for the week this week is a bratwurst.
Oh, man.
Oh, Kelvin, what's your sandwich, man?
Well, mine's just fairly simple because we know me, it's just simple, and I just ate it for lunch today. And that is a McDouble from McDonald's with no pickles.
No pickles?
What? I ain't no vinegar fermented vegetable.
How about tomatoes?
No.
Ew, I don't know. I don't like tomatoes personally.
I'll just take it straight up.
Just the meat.
Yeah.
The meat and the cheese, pretty much.
That's kind of the way I'm gonna go.
Absolutely. Well, we're gonna put a stop to this crazy plane. I don't want to call it a crazy train. Pun totally intended this week. But we definitely hope you guys got some insight here. And if you've never traveled before, just understand that the nervousness, as extreme as it might be, is 100% normal and okay. And literally, like, I mean, the worst things that can happen is, you miss your flight. that would really stink, I mean, because then you have to figure out how to rebook. But like, it's, once you're in the air and to your destination, it feels great. So if I might encourage you guys, if you're thinking to, about traveling by plane for the first time independently, do it. Seriously. Like, there is no try, do it. Now, that being said, part 2, we're going to talk more about what do you do, when you're in an unfamiliar city or location, how do you find transit or rideshare and how do you find like hotels and all that? How do you navigate all of that? We're going to talk about that next week. So be sure to stay tuned. And of course, if you've got any questions, comments, feedback for us or any of our other podcast hosts, you know what to do. Email feedback@aftersight.org or call 720-712-8856 and leave us a voicemail. With that being said, I am your host, Evan Starnes, and this is my co-host, Kelvin Crosby.
Go live beyond your childhood. Plug in your device.